What is up guys, welcome back today to another video on this channel. Hope you're all doing good, and today I am very proud to say that today I'm going to be reviewing a book written by my very own mother, which is Kiss of the Wildflower. This book is a collection of short stories which clearly describe the term, the tales of extraordinary things happening to ordinary people. Even though this book is a work of fiction, it still talks completely about ordinary people. There is no sci-fi, mystery or adventure to be solved, but it is still so intriguing and interesting. Now before you start thinking what I know you're going to start thinking, this is my 100% honest review. If I do not like a story of this book, I will share it with you guys. If I truly like the story of this book, I will share it with you guys. It's not going to be a biased review. So before we jump into my version of the stories, my review and the table of contents, let's read the summary at the back of the book. 16 extraordinary tales of ordinary people who were touched by bizarre, grotesque, freakish and fantastic circumstances and were changed by them forever. A young woman visits the mountains, but the mountains have a surprise of their own for her. This woman has to save her daughter and herself from the devil they live with. How will she do it? Shahid has left his hometown to forget his personal loss, but his work throws an unexpected challenge at him. Atul likes talking to the watchman every single night when he comes back from the office, but he discovers something chilling later. From the mountains to the plains, from villages to the metropolis, these short stories will leave you in a quagmire of overwhelming curiosity, amazement and fascination. This book has been written by Deepika Sharma. Now let's talk about the table of contents and which stories are in this book. I mean, obviously judging by the title of the book, you can tell that one of the stories is going to be Kiss of the Wildflower, since it says Kiss of the Wildflower and other stories. Now the table of contents are: the first story is We Rise by Lifting Others. The second story is When Mountains Spoke. The third story is The Missing Man. The fourth story is Roots. The fifth story is Broken Mirror. The sixth story is The Orange Basket. The seventh story is The Dream Catcher. The eighth story is Conversations at Night. The ninth story is Once Upon a Time. The 10th story is My Beginning, End and Happily Ever After. The 11th story is Beyond Grief. The 12th story is Two Lives. The 13th story is Summer in Winter. The 14th story is Battles of Mind. The 15th story, When Things Fade. And the 16th story is The Kiss of the Wildflower. Now before I start talking about my favorite stories and the stories which I like the least, let's talk a little bit about the cover design and overall feel of the book. The first thing that comes to my mind when I hold this book or possibly see it in a bookstore is that I would definitely buy it. And the reason for that is, first of all, the cover design is white, which is extremely interesting and it stands out from all the other dark themed and different color themed covers of other books. So it's going to stand out if ever placed in a store. And the second is the title in itself. The Kiss of the Wildflower is a really intriguing title, and it also takes me back to the days when I used to read Enid Blyton's short stories. They used to be titled exactly like this: The Kiss of the Wildflower and Other Stories by Enid Blyton. It used to happen like that a lot, and that intrigues me till date. Now out of all the 16 stories I mentioned right now, I'm going to be discussing just a few so that you guys can cope up with the suspense of the book and I do not reveal all the stories to you. Oh, and let me make it clear, it's not like I'm going to be revealing all of these stories which I'm going to be discussing about anyways, so you do not need to worry or skip any parts. There are no spoilers. So by far my favorite story is the second story, When Mountains Spoke. Now the reason this is my favorite story is, first of all, I love ghost stories. Second, in the ghost stories lines, I love the hill stations ghost stories. Those really intrigue me. And since ghost stories mostly are heard in hill stations, I'm extremely lucky. This is exactly what happens in When Mountains Spoke. A young woman has been transferred to a little village over off in the mountains where she does not want to go, and she hopes to get out of there as soon as she can. But she loves the beauty, the scenery, the fresh air, and soon becomes really happy to stay there. On her first night, she hears some weird knocking on the door. And the story progresses in such a suspenseful manner for me. Here, I'm not going to reveal it, don't worry. She hears knocking on the door and I'm just going to leave you in the dark like that. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna leave you in the dark like that. She hears the knocking on the door and she's petrified. And the way the story builds up, you can imagine yourself being in her place. And I've always said this in all of my videos, that is the very defining quality of a good book. Now, this is another story which I partially like and don't like very much at all. The title of that story is Roots. Now, the reason I love it is the overall story. It's a wonderful storyline. It's really interesting. It talks about a young girl and her fascination about the world and how people observe her. It's really interesting. But the reason I don't like it is, first of all, it's divided into different parts. One story divided into different parts, and it is extremely long. It seems just a little bit stretched out, which I didn't like at all. But apart from that, I really like the story and definitely recommend that you read this story as well. And I also wanted to mention there is no particular order in which you read the stories. They are not chapters, they are totally different short stories. So you can go through them in whichever order you prefer, whichever title seems more intriguing to you, you can just start out from that story. Now, talking about the age criteria for this book, I will put it between 8 years of age to an adult age. Now, the problem with it is that it can't actually be classified completely as a kid's book, because some stories, about at least 5 of them, are obviously 14 and 15 above, because young children are not going to understand what those stories mean or how it was done. With that being said, I'm going to talk about a story concerning murder. Yeah, murder. It's such an amazing thriller story, which first of all comes to your mind that yes, this book has a ton of variety. It talks about all different types of stories. There's no specific type of writing. But the fun fact about this story is that it talks about a detective who is trying to solve a murder mystery case, and it's really interesting. Yeah, it is pretty similar to Sherlock Holmes, but I'm not gonna put it that far because people in the comments are gonna go, oh, nothing is as good as Sherlock Holmes, whatever, just leave me alone. Anyway, another story which I really liked of this book was Prattles of Mind. It talks about an elderly grandfather who lives in a house where he does not believe that anyone respects him. He thinks that everyone makes fun of him and no one actually wants him to be there. He thinks everyone disrespects him, no one works for him properly, and no one wants to obey him. He tries to run away from his home and then he learns the shocking truth. So I'm gonna leave you guys in the dark to ponder about what would have happened in these particular stories. The link to grab this book will be in the description as well as in the pinned comment section. So you can go ahead and grab this book whenever you want. So here I'm just gonna pop up a list of all the sites this book is on. You can go ahead and check it in all of these different sites, which will be really appreciated. With that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It really means to me that you clicked on this video, and since you're here, you might as well drop a like to show your support. And YouTube statistics also tell me that not many people have taken a book's corner and subscribed to this channel. So if you can take the corner of a book and hit the subscribe button, it is incredibly appreciated. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm gonna see you guys next time, or probably in a previous video. Go ahead and check more videos out there in the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Oh yeah, and you can also buy the book. Yeah, grab it. Yeah, grab it today. Yeah, thank you so much.